Skipper, have you got a team for us yet?
Not yet. No, we'll discuss that once we see the wicket. We've only just arrived here at training, so haven't seen the wicket yet.
Any leaning towards who might replace Mitchell?
Oh, obviously Sean's come into the squad and Billy's been here. And then again, it goes to whether we play two spinners at the Gabba. I mean, they're what we're weighing up at the moment, but I'd assume it'd probably be a similar style 11 with Billy or Sean coming in.
It'd be hard to change that 11 too, wouldn't it, after the weekend's performance?
Yeah, it was a pretty good performance. Very good actually. To start the summer off really well like that was crucial. I think the way that our preparation was leading into the game was great as well. So can't afford to take our foot off the gas though. Sri Lanka have beaten us here before. So it's going to be another good battle on a pretty good wicket again.
Aaron, I guess it's pretty early in the summer, isn't it, to be playing international cricket, but everything seems like has added importance now with the T20 World Cup looming. Is that how you guys are viewing it as well? Every game is a step towards your planning to be peaking for that tournament?
Yeah, everything that we're doing on and off field is based around working back from the T20 World Cup, and that's with selections, that's with the way that we're managing our players and giving guys enough game time as well, so that they're getting more and more T20 exposure. I think that domestically, guys, there's enough there, but internationally we just haven't had the amount of cricket that we would have liked over the last couple of years. So the fact that we've got now 20 games, plus big bashes, plus IPLs, the 100, things like that, there's still going to be a lot of content. So a lot of importance still on performance, because it's going to be hard to get that squad down to 15. So you want to be right there and amongst it.
You feel a bit out of pressure with that thrust towards the T20 World Cup, or is that people, obviously Cricket Australia wants you guys to be really performing well then, fans as well. Yeah, welcome that bit of pressure and expectation in this format of the game? Yeah,
absolutely, and we're just really pleased that we're playing more of it now. We've spoken about the continuity of having more games and being able to select probably more consistent side over the next 12 months, and then with the World Cup another 12 months on from there. I think it's a really great time to be playing T20 cricket for Australia, because you're getting enough game time to start to develop that squad mentality, that real connection between guys who might bat in the middle order together, who mightn't have done it a huge amount in the past.
Aaron, just on the Brisbane Heat playing here, sometimes adopted a bit of a spin to win philosophy,
Yep.
A bit of success at times. Is that something you'll consider? Do you look at that kind of stuff? And additionally, Adam Zampa, how do you feel he's been performing?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of discrepancy between the Big Bash numbers and international numbers. Obviously, there's not as many international games being played here, and spin is still very effective. We know that, and Zamps has been outstanding. I think the way that he prepared in the lead up to the first game, as well as the length that he bowled in the first game, along with Ashton Agar, they were both excellent. To not go for a boundary against unbelievable players of spin, I think was a huge credit to the way that they bowled.
Do you see Agar as potentially a long-term number 7? It seems like it gives you guys a bit of flexibility with your attack. Yeah,
it gives us the option. His batting's still developing, and something that he's been working on is becoming that real finisher towards the back end of an innings in T20 and one-day games. So if he can keep developing that, then it does give you a lot of options to play that second spinner, or go with 4 quicks, or if there's another all-rounder that comes in. So it actually just balances the side up really well.
Saw Maxi get his chance at 3 on Sunday.
Yep.
Obviously, everyone wants to bat up the order in a T20 and give themselves the best chance. What's the plan there? What's the thinking in terms of, just giving these guys an opportunity to show what they can do at different points of an innings? Yeah,
it was about the 6 over mark that we decided Maxi was going to go in next. Steve was scheduled to come in at 3, and I think after the start that we got off to, and how good the wicket was, we know that we needed to capitalise in them middle overs as well, and Maxi was probably best placed to do that. So that's going to be something that chops and changes depending on the starts, depending on if you're batting first or second, where you see the game sort of drifting in different parts. So that's going to be something that our middle order, they're really well prepared for. They're all prepared to be floating up and down the order and just ready to go at all stages. So I think at times you'll see 4 or 5 guys in the sheds with their pads on.
You're in the middle, sorry. Did you make that call?
Yeah, I made the call. The 12th man ran out some drinks and some gloves. I sent the message back. I said the general communication is if I'm out batting that JL with consultation with the vice captains will probably make that call. But it's two-way communication all the time. So you send that back, got the thumbs up, and ready to go.
In what scenario do we see Steve Smith play more of a role if there's a wicket the first couple of overs, maybe?
Yeah, probably. I think he's so adaptable to all situations that I think that's a real luxury to have. And well, it's a bit of a Mr. Fix-It, isn't he? If you go 2 down early, he's hopefully there to pick up the pieces. And if you get off to a bit of a fly, we know that he can still play that up-tempo, high strike rate game. So he's going to probably change his game depending on every scenario, which you do naturally. But to be, like I said, to be really flexible as a middle order, guys prepared to go in at any stage is important to, I think, keep teams or catch teams off guard as well. If you've got left and right hand combinations, there's a few options there. So it's a nicely balanced side at the moment.
There's been some talk lately about winding the fast bowlers back in training. Do you agree with guys not training flat out?
Yeah, I just read a paragraph or so of an article this morning, so I haven't seen the whole thing, but I honestly don't know. I don't know where that sits in terms of their preparation and stuff like that. So I'll need to get a little bit more on it to have a proper opinion.
Have you met Drew yet?
No.
Because the reason I asked that, Mitchell has an easel, and that was part of that article. That seems a little, I don't know, not weird, but the fact that he hasn't met the Australian captain yet, and he's the head of high performance. Yeah,
honestly, I've read one paragraph, and it was basically just a brief rundown of. So I don't know enough about it, but I mean, each bowler is different. I think if you look over the last couple of years, Peter Siddle's someone who's probably gone the other way and had to manage his body a little bit differently. Our quicks at the moment are up and flying, and they're feeling good, they're fresh, they're ready to go. So I think at times you need to practice at 100%. Maybe there's times when you're in the session for more of a workload situation that you might dial it back slightly, but our quicks have been great over the last few years, and I think that a lot of that is down to the intensity that we train at, and whether that's tweaked slightly, I'm not sure of the exact way to go about it. It's probably a question for the quicks, because I've never bowled a ball that quick in my life.
What about meeting the high performance boss? I mean, is that?
I think that's just been not a scheduling, but there's been players all over the place at the moment, so I think that'd be a bit unrealistic. We're 3 weeks or 4 weeks into the season. Guys are crossing paths all the time. I've spent most of my time in Perth recently with the Vics, so I'm sure over the next month or so that will happen, especially when the team is together. I mean, we've only been together less than a week as a T20 side, so no doubt that'll happen in the next couple of weeks.
Aaron, just with you and David Warner opening the innings, it was almost an ideal situation on Sunday afternoon. You guys got a massive score. How do you two talk it through? Is there a point at which you say, okay, I'm just going to go for it now? And can you explain that to us a little bit?
That's not... When you bat together with someone for such a long time, you don't really have to talk about things like that in the middle of the innings. I think it's more about you just get a feel for the way that the game's going. You get a feel for the flow that your partner's in, and sometimes that can just be body language. That can be just how they're talking to you out in the middle. That you feel as though they're just a little bit flat. They're not quite feeling it. So then we're basically talking tactics out there. Who you're more comfortable targeting if we are going to go big. So obviously Malinga up front. We've both faced him quite a bit. We didn't want to be too expansive against him in the first over, wait for a bad ball, and then as it moves on, you just get more. You get a better read on the day. You get more comfortable with how the wicket's playing. So then it just flows from there, and you pick your targets. You have your zones, whether it's if they miss full and straight, you target them, or if they bowl short, whatever it is. It's not something that you have to talk specifics, but it's something that you do talk very broadly, and you talk a little bit more about how you see the 20 overs playing out.
And we saw Rajita, I think it was, who went for the world record, 75 from 4 overs, of which you and Davey probably played a pretty big hand. Is that something you guys now, if he plays tomorrow night, okay, we're going to target him again?
I think when you turn up to a different venue, it's a totally different surface, it's a different day. It's a night game for a start. The ball traditionally doesn't swing a huge amount in the daytime, particularly at Adelaide. So coming here, there'll be a little bit more movement. So you have to go through your whole process of restarting your innings, whether that's today technically in the nets and mentally, and then do your mental stuff overnight to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance of success. Just because you had the better of somebody the other day doesn't mean that you're just going to walk out and do it again another day. So you have to respect it every day that you turn up and play.
Aaron, it sounds like, I mean, there's going to be a bit more stability in this squad in terms of selections, and you talk about chemistry and combinations. Do you think you can grow to be the best side in the world, T20 side in the world?
That's the goal. Yeah, we're number 5 at the moment in the world, and that's probably been a real reflection of where we've been for the last couple of years. And I think there's always times when you go through ups and downs as a side, but now we've got a specific date in mind, which is the start of the World Cup, is to really build that 12-month foundation of a really good, solid T20 side that can beat the best in the world and sustain that for a long period of time. I think that's one of the most important things, that we can sustain it. Not put a great performance up, then let it drop off. I think being a more well-rounded side, and that all comes back to the balance of the side, the consistency, the chemistry. The more we can get that going well together, the more consistent I think you'll see our side.
Is it disappointing to not really have a decent hit out in the first game? It feels like the Sri Lankan side are a long way off the pace compared to you guys. Is that, you want a better game of cricket this Wednesday night or tomorrow night?
Well, if we can play as complete a game again, I'll be bloody happy. I think the way that we started the game in the first couple of overs with the bat and the ball, taking that, I think the first, to go none down in the first 6 is a huge plus, and then on the flip side to get wickets, it's always going to put pressure on an opposition when you take 3 wickets in the power play and when you've got 233 on the board. So the fact that the processes that we went with were really good, that's the pleasing part.
Is it easy to underestimate a team like Sri Lanka?
No, not at all. We saw last time they came here, they beat us 2-1 and played some great cricket. And they're such a dangerous side. You look at their numbers. They've just beaten Pakistan in Pakistan 3-0. Absolutely great performance. They've got guys who can destroy a game in overs, whether it's with the ball or with the bat. So you never underestimate a world-class side like Sri Lanka.